to build a team of favorite lenders. Section 6. This is going to be a lot of fun, guys. So this is going to be some really good information, and I think there's going to be some clear signs that you guys can see what's up and what's going on. What do we got? What are we doing? What are we tracking? Where are we heading? All right. Anytime that you are starting, let's say that you're starting from the very beginning, and what you are trying to do is build this wonderful department. And this department is going to be handling all your F&I needs. As you can see in the pie in front of you, it says, I gave you 4 different sections. 1, first-time buyer. Number 2, any credit is okay. Cosigner is okay. Any state, sub 600, 150% advance. This is just something as an example, but a real pie would look like this. You know, we have a big section right here, another big section here, and then the sections get smaller. Maybe one of them get bigger, and then they get smaller, and then and every one of those would resemble, would represent. Every one of those would represent a certain need that your company requires. For example, I do. So throw it. Thanks. I bet you guys are impressed. You're not?
Yeah.
Oh, so you guys expect me to catch it. That's even better. Thanks. Okay, so this particular pie, for example, it will buy. I have a need, for example, of a certain finance company that gives me a program that allows me to advance 150%. I have a need of a certain finance company that will buy anyone. If they have pulse, yep, you're approved. This finance company will use Kelley Blue Book, KBB, in their advance. This company will buy FTB, first-time buyers. This finance company will do it with no money down. This one will actually do it with no money down, but with $500 down, it gives me a better advance. This finance company will accept cosigners. Now, is some of these finance companies will overlap each other? Of course, but one of them will be, you will designate it as, this is the company that does that. For example, this finance company with 600 plus beacons, I would be able to, no doc, meaning no proof of income, no residence, no this, no that. Hey, this finance company does not care about debt ratio. This company does not care about payment to income ratio. Does anybody know these? Who? Yeah. Who doesn't care about debt ratio? If you're at 80, 90, 100% in debt, you can still get a loan.
Like you make $2,500 a month. It's all going out. You got $3,200 going out.
If you give the wrong answer, we're going to take you in the back and beat you up. No, just you can. No, it's all right. So who doesn't care about debt ratio, guys? Anybody? Household. Household. They don't care. Cap 1 doesn't care. But Cap 1 is a little stricter on the program than household. Household is just like all, you know.
Household is HAFC, by the way. HSBC. Right.
Who doesn't care about payment to income ratio? See, these are the questions as an F&I manager, an F&I director, you need to be mastering. you need to create this great grid right in front of you where every one of them know. Now, the easiest thing for you to do that is learn one of those finance companies, one program a week, right? One program a week. You know it like the back of your hand. And more importantly, you invite that rep to come in and you tell them, look, I need you to come in 2 weeks. We're going to have all our F&I people and sales managers in a room, and you're going to teach us about your program. I want to make you aware that those guys are going to study your program, so you better know what's up when you come in. Bring donuts. That's it. They show up, and they give you a presentation. Good enough, you guys will have a few things that you'll challenge them. And good enough, he'll have a few things that he will tell you about that you guys will benefit from. Once a week, there is a finance company that needs to be coming to your dealership. Hey, those finance companies love doing that because every time they do that, you end up doing more business with them, don't we? So why not? So that's really important. Moving right along. Key point. Page 116. You must have a clear understanding of every lender's program and guideline. What does clear mean, ladies and gentlemen? Vivid. Know it. Know it better than the company knows it. Sir?
What was the one bank you asked the student to have
Bank of America. M&T. You must keep 10 key defining guidelines organized and visible. Here are the 10 defining guidelines. Now, by the way, those are the guidelines that I would ask that rep every time one of the, like, you know, you guys will be sitting doing business and all of a sudden a rep stops by on Tuesday or Wednesday. You need to sit him down and say, and he says, hey, I want to sign you up. Although lately that has not been happening quite a bit. But why don't you invite him and sit him down? And you need to ask him those questions. What is the percentage of advance? What is your percentage of advance? Front-end advance. What is the payment to income ratio? That's a very specific question, Todd, that you need to be asking.
Y'all have a chart that you guys gave me that I call every Friday.
I know.
I call them, sometimes I call the same thing 3 times a week.
Good for you.
Just so that you get it in the habit of doing it.
What is the desired debt ratio? What would they like you to be at? What does their program says? And then obviously the very next question is there any wiggle room on that deal, right? Because we're all about the wiggle, right? What are the limitations and restrictions, if any? Some of them will tell you, you know, I don't care if you had an 800 BECA score, I'm not doing a Suzuki. If you have a 900 BECA score, it ain't riding. What are the deal breakers? If you have 2 repos, is it a deal breaker? 5 bankruptcies, is it a deal breaker? I mean, just because the guy filed bankruptcy 5 times, it doesn't mean that, you know, he doesn't want to pay people, okay? Some of those finance companies are extremely unreasonable. I mean, when they say 4 repos and that's it, we will not lend this guy any more money, I think it's very un-American, personally. It's just not real, man. I don't understand. What you need to call is call the finance company where you have 4 repos and get on the phone and rehash one of them. Man, I got a deal. I'm telling you, it's a done deal. Here's the sweet part about it. Only 4 repos. Can you believe that? This guy is young, man. I think he'll pay you on this one.
What's the record? He said he would. What's the world record?
I don't want to even talk about records because, you know, I don't want to tell you how many times I engaged in a conversation where it was absolutely ludicrous that I'm calling, rehashing a deal, and the guy on the other hand said, I think I got something I can work in here. Because all that buyer is looking at is what? The score. And the next thing you know, they're like, okay, I'm sending you a payment call. It's not as much as you want. And I'm saying, man, I knew you were a winner. You're awesome, dude. Thanks. And I'm like... It happens all the time. Some of you guys are sitting on your desks and you're playing God. You're saying this is a deal, this is not a deal. I can't tell you how. I mean, we have a rule in our organization, and that rule is we submit everything. And if it's not submittable, we work towards submitting it till it's submitted. And And there's many times where I grab a deal and it's not submitted, and it's my assignment to be sitting on the desk. I'm sitting there on a Saturday, you know, or something like that, and I'm like, you know, there's just, I won't tell this to anybody. In my mind, I said, there's just no way this is a deal. And of course, I never took typing in college, so all the typing skills I have, I learned it through submitting deals. So I'm just typing away, and I'm like, ah, here he goes. I misspelled this guy's name. Let's go back. And then I go, boom. Approved. Look, dude, I told you this is a deal. That happens at least once a week, where I'm looking at it, just no chance. Bam, it's a deal. And I'll brag. I said, I told you it's a deal. I did it. What did you do? Submit it? You didn't do anything but type. A monkey can do that. Okay. What are the deal makers? X equals a deal. If this guy got this, it's a deal. Right? There's some banks out there that says, if you got 600 beacon score, you need to submit this deal to me because I'll probably approve it. You know, Capital One has a program that is based on Equifax. If the customer has a high enough beacon score, and it could have 2, 3 repos, next thing you know, they don't recognize 1 or 2, and it gets approved electronically. There are some banks out there with 700 beacon score. It doesn't matter what comes with it. It doesn't matter what comes with it. If the guy makes $700 a month, and he has a 700 beacon score, all you got to do is make a copy of that of the credit bureau, attach it to the deal, and send it, and they'll fund it. They'll quick fund it. If you fax to them the information before they get the contract, by the time the contract gets to them, that money has already been wired. X equals a deal. You need to know these things. It's your job to know them. What are the requirements of down payment, if any? A lot of people right now, this guy doesn't have down payment. We're not gonna do this deal. We go and just dig through trash bags of dead deals, and there is deal after deal after deal after deal. And all they say, well, he didn't have any down payment. Well, we got banks that can do it with no down payment at 115%. Let's rock. But you don't know what you don't know. You don't know what you are incompetent about because you're unconscious about it. So what we want to do is master the art of learning those finance programs, because we are in the finance business. There's not many people walking in with a check. I know in Huntsville, Alabama, there's a lot of people with hardcore checks coming in, you know, and if it's not checks, it's bags of money, right? That's why Wells Fargo truck comes in visits every dealership and empties all the safes, right? No, everybody's financing these days, so that's why we got to learn how to do this. Make sense? Don't go ahead. Focus. How many months depending on the model? Isn't that important? Do they have any restriction that they will not finance brands, mileage, etc.? What are the restrictions? We need to ask that specific question. You know, question number 4, guys, if you look at question number 4, for example, they might have some limitations on certain vehicles. They say, well, we will finance that vehicle, but we won't give you full advance. And what ends up happening is you get the deal approved on a Toyota, you get the approval, now you're excited about sending the deal on a Suzuki, you package the deal and you send it in. What is that? That's the buzzer telling you bring the car back. What does that mean? Oh, now you got to tell the customer you can't have that Suzuki car after you sold your heart out on it and told them it's a 100,000-mile warranty, blah, 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 and that's the only approval you can get. What a nightmare. I'm taking a day off on that day. Because that guy's going to ask for the highest ranking officer to rip him a new ear. Don't you think? And I don't do well with those. Just want to let you guys know. Bill knows. What book do they use? What book does the finance company use? Hey, by the way, what books are being used right now out there?
Out there for us?
No, for everybody. Is it NADA? Is it Blue Book? Is there any other book being used?
Black Book.
Oh, they are? What finance company is using Black Book? Go ahead, take your time. I'm listening. Would you like some water? Can we go ahead and make dinner? Oh, hold on a second. Would you like me to organize another party while we're waiting for that Black Book answer? Oh, there isn't any finance company use a Black Book. Okay, we'll talk about that in a little bit. Ooh, this is a whole subject, by the way. We'll get to that. Some of you are still going to the auction with black books in your pockets. We'll change that habit today. No big deal. Did I lose anybody yet? Let's focus back here. Okay. I love it when I get ahead of myself. Can you please grab your book and turn it around like this, if you don't mind? Does anybody think I'm having fun doing this? Okay. I think you guys need to be doing that as well. Okay, this is a lender tracking form. Create a large whiteboard in your business office. When I say business office, it means...
Another good question to ask your bank is what bureau do they pull first?
Absolutely. Great question. Great question. Get some of that. Anyway, so lender tracking form, right? What we do, lender, rep, number, relationship, 0 to 10. You want to rank that relationship, 0 to 10. Percentage of advance, payment to income, debt ratio, limitations, restrictions, deal killers, deal makers, requirements, month models, specific restriction, brand, model, etc. What kind of credit bureau they pull, they look at. Black book, yellow book, blue book. And you put all those here, and it makes it a very nice board. And I would say the board needs to be about half of the size of this poster, or this screen. And it needs to be very vividly clean and clear. And you put it in front of either the tower, the F&I office, maybe the training room. And it needs to be constantly updated. Now, the good news is once you do that one time, you're not going to have to do a lot of work on it. But by the time you get it done, let's say in a week or two, let's say, for example, I come to your dealership in a couple of weeks and it's not up. I'll still respect you, but not as much. I expect big things from you guys. You guys know that. I've already spoke to Joe about it. I said, you guys are entitled to the biggest increase out of this class. And you're among big company. I mean, there's some winners here, horses. And they don't take that lightly. But I've already picked the odds says you guys will win.